Good evening and welcome to another Townsville Storm Watch and surrounding districts Cyclone Watch. I'm Nathan Donnelly and it's good to have you join us for this update. I would just like to mention that if there are any businesses out there that would like to help out with sponsorship for our page so that we can do all the work that we need to be done to keep everyone up to date with what's happening in the weather, then we do ask that you let us know by leaving a message on our Facebook page, and of course that being Townsville Stormwatch and Surrounding Districts Facebook page, and one of the admins will contact you as soon as we possibly can. So it'd be great to have a sponsorship, and your business will be displayed on the page for the duration of the sponsorship. So it's a great way to get your business noticed out there, and we would really like to have some fun so that we can continue to increase the work that we do here at Townsville Stormwatch and surrounding districts. So let's get into tonight's up. So here's the latest forecast track put out by the Bureau of Meteorology. This was issued at 4:38 p.m. Today, Wednesday the 29th of January. As we can see, the low pressure system is situated around here in the Coral Sea. It's expected to continue to push in the southwesterly direction, staying a low pressure system right through here till 4 p.m. on January the 30th, which is when things start to get a little bit interesting. Because at 4 a.m. on January the 31st, it is actually developed into a Category 1 system, and then it hits land just south here of Townsville, and then continues to track further inland, kind of still adopting that southwest to westerly direction. And of course bringing some moisture there into the inland Queensland, which will be great news there for the farmers. As you can see that there is a storm warning here from Cairns down to Mackay, and there is a storm watch present here from just inland of Townsville right down to St Lawrence. So if you are living in those areas, we do ask that you make sure that your cyclone plan is ready, that you have your cyclone kits well stocked and ready to go, and that you are really organised and have your yards cleaned up for this event. So looking now at the tropical cyclone outlook for the Coral Sea, and this was issued at 2:30 p.m. Today on Wednesday the 29th of January, and it's saying that at 1 p.m. a tropical low was situated in the northern Coral Sea, approximately 870 kilometres northeast of Cairns, and moving southwest at around 10 kilometres per hour. The tropical low is expected to move in a general westwards direction over the next couple of days and may develop further as it approaches the Queensland east coast. So the likelihood of a tropical cyclone in the eastern region for Thursday today was moderate. No, sorry, Thursday's tomorrow. I'm getting my days mixed up there. For Friday it is high, which means that there is over 50% chance of a cyclone being in the Coral Sea on Friday. And then Saturday we go back down to low, which is between 5 to 20%. Okay, now looking at the synoptic clouds formation, and this is courtesy of the Bureau of Meteorology. As we can see in the Coral Sea over here, just near Cairns, or halfway between Cairns and Townsville, we can see that there is just a very slight swirling action happening there as we head into Wednesday. So that pretty much is pinpointing where this low is situated at the moment, and as we can see that there is still a lot of convection that's happening around this system. We've got a bit of a feeder, you might call it, coming out here through the southeast of the system, Still a lot of monsoonal cloud type activity across here up the top end, so that monsoon is still going like the clappers up there in northern Australia. So as I said, we can see that there's some really good convection and really good start of some really good circulation happening here with this system. So now we have a look here at what the models are saying where this cyclone may go over the next few days. We did have the Bureau of Meteorology's forecast tracking map, but this is just to show you just how close that the models are on this system. Now, paying absolutely no attention to these outlying forecast maps or forecast tracks, because there's very few models that are actually showing that that's where the cyclone is going to come, and also these models showing that the cyclone is going to come this far south also fairly or highly unlikely that will be the track that the cyclone will take. This thick green line here is pretty much the track that is the one to watch, because that's what most model members are agreeing upon, is that thick green one. If we have a look now at the moisture that this system is going to bring with it, again we can still see that a lot of the moisture here is going to be to the system's south and even possibly southeast. Just slamming right here onto the coast, so anywhere from about North Tropical Coast down to the central coast of Queensland is going to cop a lot of rain with this system. So there could be the potential for a lot of flash flooding and a lot just a lot of moisture and a lot of rain around. So as we can see, the system continues to track in this southwesterly direction, and here it is at about Thursday night, Friday morning, that the system actually comes into the coast and drops all that rain, and then pretty much after that then fizzles out. If we now have a look at the winds and the strength that they will be producing as this system reaches the coast, and here we are on Tuesday at 6 p.m. and we can see that there's some moderate wind gusts happening here just off the coast of Cairns, Bowen, Mackay, that sort of region. We're looking at around 28 to 35 knots of wind in that area. The center of the low is just up here, a little bit off our screen there. But then if we fast forward now through to about Wednesday morning at about 9 o'clock, and we can see that we've got some quite destructive winds just developing here off the coast again there of Bowen and Townsville, that sort of area. Those moderate winds, which are not destructive but still quite gusty, they're still present there, still off the coast of Townsville, Bowen and Mackay. We've got some quite good gusty gusts coming through to the northeast of the system, and haven't quite made it right around the system just as yet. But if we continue now to go through to about Wednesday night at about 9 p.m, we can see that those destructive winds are still just off the coast there of Bowen and Mackay, maybe even possibly Townsville there. We've still got these moderate winds happening here off the coast, and those gusty winds, well, they're trying their best to try and swirl around this system, but just haven't quite got there. right at the moment. So now if we head into Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Sorry, we can see that those destructive winds are still present, but they're not as confined as what they were now. So we're looking at Rockhampton up to around the Mackay district, and then from Bowen right up through to probably around the Cardwell area are these destructive winds. We've got strong winds still between Bowen and Mackay, and those winds, well, they still haven't quite got around the whole system, but they're pretty close to it. So it'd be at this stage, I would suggest that the Bureau would be getting pretty close to classing this as a cyclone. Moving on now to Thursday night at 9 p.m. and well, we can see that the system has definitely crossed the coast, or is just on the coast there, just to the south of Bowen, which is quite a big shift to where it was last night, where it was showing a cross up here around the Townsville area. It's now sort of forecast to be just south of Bowen here, and we can see that these destructive winds are once again just here near Rockhampton. We've got some pretty moderate, still fairly gusty winds happening off the coast here near Gladstone and Rockhampton and Mackay, but not so much wind happening around here in the Townsville and Bowen areas. It's really kind of died off there quite a lot. So that's what the system is doing up on Thursday at 9 p.m. If we just go through now to Friday morning at 9 a.m. and what we can see there is that the system, well, it continues to move in its southwesterly direction, but pretty much will not be a cyclone at that stage. I dare say it'd be put back into the low category once again, and those winds have really died off. Still some quite destructive winds down here near between Rockhampton and Gladstone. Those moderate winds just off the coast there of Rockhampton and Gladstone. So that's where most of the action is going to be happening with this system. If we just have a quick look now at the wind shear conditions for this system, and we can see that pretty much where the system would be lying now would be around in this area here. So not very favourable conditions at all. Cyclones, as we said last night, do need these reds and pink colours to really stay strong, but unfortunately, as you can see, it's now moved into some fairly strong wind shear conditions. If we have a look at the conditions for Wednesday night at about 9 p.m, we can see that well, those wind shear conditions have continued to be pretty bad for this system. So it's going to take a lot for it to continue to develop. If we continue to have a look at the time when it is expected to make landfall, looking at midday here on Thursday, we can see that the wind shear has dropped off around sort of just east of Townsville, still quite strong anywhere to the north of Townsville and also to the south of Townsville, but as we saw just beforehand, the cyclone is going to be making this sort of track down through to the south of Bowen, so it may have some good conditions right here off the coast. So if it stays in here, well then, yeah, for sure, it can still intensify while in this region. But as it heads towards the coast, it's going to have all this wind shear to deal with. So not good conditions for it. We have a look now at the relative humidity for this system, and we can see that down here in the would say southwestern part of Queensland, we can see that there's a lot of dry air just down in this region here. As we track sort of further towards where the system's going to be over in this region here, we can see these greens and light greens and yellows and oranges. Now those are fairly favourable conditions for a cyclone development, so humidity is not going to be a problem for this system. If we now have a bit of a look at the steering mechanisms of this system, and what we can see here at 6 p.m. Tonight, here is our system here, and we have this ridge which was its steering mechanism for a short time today, but as you can see now, it's sort of lost its battle with this high pressure system that's developing over here in Australia. So if we continue to track these steering mechanisms, and as you can see, that it's got these little ridges here that are continuing to try and control this system. The one that had pushed it a little bit southeast is now completely gone, and it's now being driven by the high pressure system, basically, that's sitting down here in the southern part of Australia. Just having a look now at the tides, because as you may or may not have heard on the news, that one of the biggest factors of this system is the fact that it could hit during a king high tide. And this these tide times here is for Lucinda, which is just offshore there near Ingham, and we can see that at about 8:45 in the morning, there's going to be a tide of 3.94 into Lucinda, and then again at 20 to 9, 3.22. If we look here though on Friday at about 9:30, the expected height of this tide will be 3.96. Now, if there were to be a cyclone that comes through at that time, you could very, very easily add an extra meter to that tide. So, but thankfully at this stage, and I do stress at this stage, it looks as if the cyclone is going to go well south of Lucinda. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit more interesting in Townsville. What we can see here is that our highest king high tide, is going to be happening here at about 9:21 in the morning, and it's predicted to get up to 4.12 meters. Now, as I just said, add an extra meter to that if you've got a cyclone bearing down upon the area at the time. So, and at this stage it looks as if that could be the possibility, but as we saw, the forecast map is still saying that it's going to be south of Bowen. So I'm thinking, and again, this is not official, I am not a trained meteorologist, but I am saying that we may not see such a big increase, but it will be still higher than the 4.12 meters that it is predicting there. So now let's have a look at Bowen, which is where this cyclone at present is heading to. And we can see that, well, its highest tide is actually going to happen here tomorrow, Thursday the 30th, at 9:30 in the morning, with a 3.66 meter high tide, which is still quite a lot. If we look at 11 minutes past 10 here on Friday, we can see that it's going to be 3.65, so not much lower than what it was the day before. And with the cyclone bearing down, we can put that figure up to about 4.65. So that is quite a big quite a high tide with lots of low-lying areas possibly inundated with a storm surge. So if you are in those low-lying areas there of Bowen, please do start to make some type of preparations as to what you're going to do throughout this this event. So folks, that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. Thank you for watching, and once again, if you are a business out there that would like to sponsor the work that Townsville Stormwatch and surrounding districts do, then please hop onto our webpage, leave us a message there on the page, and one of our admins will get back in contact with you as soon as possible. And we'll continue watching this system and bringing you updates right throughout the day, and we'll have another video update for you tomorrow evening. Thanks for watching, and please stay safe.